Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Riley McManus. It's the latest indication of the healthcare crisis in Ontario, particularly in the north. Red Lake has recently been forced to part ways with one of its doctors after the province's slashed funding offered through the Rural and Northern Physician Group agreement. That's left the hospital there with just 6 doctors and residents with reduced access to care. Carl Langdon has the story.
A reduction in the number of family physicians in Red Lake has dramatically reduced health access in the community. It's the result of funding decreases by the Ministry of Health, and the mayor says he's concerned for his residents.
Urgent care will be closing on Saturdays, so there's no more access to urgent care. Everything is a domino effect here. So if they close our ER, what happens then? Inpatients here at our hospital have to be transferred to other hospitals. So there's going to be a domino effect in out the region.
The hospital, like so many others, was already struggling to find enough staff. CEO Sumit Kumar notes patients from the remote community who are forced to seek care elsewhere need to travel a long way on dangerous roads.
For us, it's about 230 kilometers that they would have to travel, but Vijay, we're talking almost for 2.5 hours in an ambulance.
Efforts were made last week to avoid staffing shortages in the emergency department.
We did not have physicians coverage at all, and we had to fly in a physician from Durham region to work for us to keep the doors open here. So it was one full week of shutdown that would have happened had we not got a physician from Durham region to come and work for us.
And medical emergencies, like this one you can hear during our interview,
I've got an emergency.
can occur at any time. The Ministry of Health calls the funding decision right sizing, noting it's allocating resources where they're needed most. But Moda wonders if Red Lake's non-permanent residents were considered when that decision was made.
Our population in Red Lake here is approximately 4,200 people. On any given day, we have probably another 600 to 800 people in the community that work in the mines that are fly in, fly out, or are here on mining business.
And with more mining development planned in the region, there's a potential for the situation to get much worse before it gets better. Carl Langdon, TBT News.
The Ontario College of Family Physicians is calling for immediate support for family doctors across Northern Ontario. The organization says they're the ones shouldering much of the burden of keeping emergency rooms open. The college adds family doctors in the north are working unreasonable ER shifts to prevent closures, putting strain on their well-being and exasperating wait times for primary care. Sioux Lookout Dr. Mary England says the issue has affected her own family practice.
And it's very hard to say no when you know that the ultimatum is a closed emergency room and the effect that that has on people that you know well. What it means is less clinic time. And less clinic time means patients are waiting for care. And when patients are waiting for care, their conditions can progress and they can get more acute illnesses and have to present to acute care. So it's obviously a vicious cycle.
The college is calling for the government to enhance locum programs for the North, urgently implement and fund recruitment and retention programs, and immediately provide peer support for family doctors. A verdict came down today in the coroner's inquest into the 2016 death of Daniel Lagarde at the hands of the OPP in Nipigon. The jury determined Lagarde died by homicide due to a gunshot wound to the abdomen. A finding of homicide is not criminal in the context of a coroner's inquest. The officers involved were previously found to have acted lawfully in the course of their duties. Lagarde died on the night of November 26, 2016, after police were called to a residence over reports of an unwanted person. The jury also handed down 18 recommendations, calling for more police training, particularly relating to de-escalation, intimate partner violence, and Indigenous awareness. Other recommendations were directed to the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services, the Ministry of the Solicitor General, and the Office of Chief Coroner itself. Full details can be found on tvnewswatch.com. The Office of the Independent Police Review Director will not investigate a complaint that was filed against an OPP officer involved in a video that sparked outrage online last month. It appears to show the officer using a taser against a woman in Sioux Lookout, and a warning, some viewers may find the footage disturbing. The video appears to show a kneeling woman being punched by an officer before fighting back. The officer then appears to step back and stun the woman twice with a taser. Sioux Lookout OPP have defended the officer's conduct and charged the 23-year-old woman from Casablanca Lake First Nation with assault with intent to resist arrest. Rachel Mamakwa, who says that woman in the video is her niece, filed the complaint. She says she's angry with the OIPRD's response.
There was an email from OIPRD, and they said that they weren't going to do anything. It was really upsetting and discouraging. And I don't know, just felt awful. And I didn't think it was right.
In the email, the OIPRD says it won't investigate due to the outstanding charges against the niece. Quote, "It is not in the public interest to proceed with a misconduct investigation when it could interfere with and or be delayed by a related parallel proceeding." Mamakwa says she's contacted a lawyer and is looking into other ways to advocate for her niece, including a possible human rights case. It is the land swap controversy that has Doug Ford on defense. Today, the Premier is pushing back, claiming no one had preferential treatment when it comes to opening up the Greenbelt. But the Auditor General says some developers were favored. Alison Hurst reports.
Hammered by questions about the Auditor General's scathing report that dug into the handling of opening up parts of the Greenbelt at an announcement, Housing Minister Steve Clark and Premier Doug Ford were once again on the defensive.
I've admitted numerous times the process could be a lot better. The Premier and I and our government have completely acknowledged the fact that we moved too fast and there were severe flaws in the process.
They were pressed on the reason why they wouldn't reevaluate the decision the report says favored certain developers and why they insisted on building the Greenbelt land, despite the fact their own task force says it's not necessary in order to reach the government's housing goal.
No one had preferential treatment. What we're doing is trying to build the 50,000 homes for people that need it.
Ontario's official opposition is demanding the legislature be recalled immediately to fully address the report.
The decisions that were made questionably need to be put on hold, and that's the primary focus of bringing the House back.
The recall would focus primarily on claims that the decision on land removal was spearheaded by the Housing Minister's Chief of Staff. According to the report, 92% of the land removed was requested by developers he had dinner with in September.
This wasn't a leak. This was, when I read the Auditor General's report, basically direct influence.
Ford and Clark maintain they were unaware of what was going on.
These people continue to peddle a lie. And they use that in order to enrich some of their friends.
David Crombie was the chair of Ontario's Greenbelt Council until 2020, and he says the Auditor General's report confirms why he and other members resigned their seats.
We could see what they were doing with all of the processes and policies and pieces of legislation that go up to make the public planning process in Ontario, right? And they distorted it.
The Integrity Commissioner's investigation is still underway.
And that was Alison Hurst reporting. Another provincial Liberal leadership hopeful is touring northwestern Ontario in an effort to convince voters that he's the right person for the top job. In addition to stops in Kenora, Dryden, and Nipigon, Kingston area MPP Ted Hsu also met with party supporters in Thunder Bay on Thursday evening. He believes his track record of winning, even in elections in which the party doesn't perform well, is what sets him apart from the other candidates. Hsu insists he's the right choice to lead the Ontario Liberals and ultimately the province as its next premier.
We have so many problems with cost of living, housing, healthcare capacity, mental health and addictions, and climate change as well. I want to do something about that. I've also got a lot of experience outside of politics. So I've worked in science, I've worked in business, I've worked in sustainable energy, but I also have a lot of political experience, and that's the last thing. I can win when the Liberal Party's doing really badly. In 2011, I won a federal seat in the House of Commons, worst election disaster ever for the federal Liberals. And last year, I won a seat again in the provincial election when the provincial Liberals were doing very badly. So I can help the party win.
The Liberals currently hold just 9 seats at Queen's Park. Also vying for the party's top job are Mississauga Mayor Bonnie Crombie, Nathaniel Erskine Smith, Yasser Naqvi, and Adil Shamji. 2 people were hospitalized following a serious head-on crash on Gulf Links Road on Tuesday night with a drunk driver. This is the aftermath of the collision. Both the truck and SUV involved sustained heavy damage. The 2 occupants of the SUV were taken to hospital. The driver is said to have serious injuries with multiple broken bones. The 21-year-old male driver of the truck has been charged with impaired driving and dangerous operation of a vehicle. Police say he swerved into the oncoming lane and struck the SUV. This after nearly striking the median on Oliver Road before turning onto Gulf Links. The accused has been released with conditions and a future court date. A lot of cyclists have pedaled across Canada in recent years, but not many are quadriplegic. Kevin Mills has stopped for a break in Thunder Bay halfway through his journey to promote activity-based therapy, accessibility, and inclusivity. Jess Clement brings us his story.
Kevin Mills always dreamt of cycling across the country, but after he sustained a spinal cord injury in 2009, he wasn't sure that dream would ever come true. But through activity-based therapy, Mills regained some mobility and was able to get back into cycling. Now he's making his way from Cape Spear, Newfoundland to Tofino, British Columbia to promote mobility and accessibility.
One of the biggest things I wanted to do is promote activity after injury and just get people, especially people with disabilities, out and active and show how important physical activity is for mental and physical health.
And Mills isn't on his own. He's joined by his team at Pedaling Possibilities, which consists of personal support worker Candace Wins and biking partner Nikki Davenport.
Hey, we got both of us in a shot.
Mills credits her with pitching the ambitious idea.
Oh, it's amazing. Like, honestly, the only thing I'm really doing is pedaling. Nikki and Candace are doing everything else. It's such an amazing team. They're absolutely couldn't do it without either of them. And I feel very lucky.
It's incredible to see how many lives Kevin is touching. A lot of people bike, able-bodied people bike across Canada every year, but to see a quadriplegic do it is very inspiring. It's eye-opening, it's new, it's unfamiliar, and people just want to help, and they want to know him, and they want to talk to him, and it's just, we get to see just how kind the country is.
In addition to raising awareness, Mills and his team are working to establish a biking route across the country that will be accessible for all. More information about Mills's journey and how to support him can be found online at pedalingpossibilities.ca. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
A popular family-friendly event returned last night as the city hosted its first movie night in the park. More than 100 moviegoers armed with lawn chairs, blankets, and snacks descended on Vickers Park to watch Disney's Encanto Under the Stars. The weekly movies are free to attend. Community Program Coordinator Jennifer Bullock says it's great to get out and enjoy the showings with family and friends.
And we're so excited to be here at Vickers Park. It's one of the most beautiful parks we have in Thunder Bay, and we have a great turnout tonight, so very excited to see that. It's just so great to see the community come out and support these events and just, enjoy the local parks that we have. And so it's a free community event, so anybody's welcome, all ages. Just bring a lawn chair, blanket. It's a little bit chillier out now, and snacks. Snacks are always great for movies, so.
Movie nights in the park continue next Thursday with Back to the Future at Boulevard. That's followed by Super Mario Brothers a week later. The North Shore Dog Club's 3rd annual dog show got underway today at Chippewa Park. More than 100 dogs from across Canada and south of the border are competing for the title of Best in Show. Rain or shine, the show must go on. And that's exactly what happened out at Chippewa Park today at the North Shore Dog Club's annual show. Newfoundland Apollo and owner Ken Bias won the top prize of Best in Show after traveling all the way from Missouri. This isn't Apollo's first time winning that title, but it is his first win in Canada and with his owner, as opposed to another handler.
The group ring was full of 7 beautiful dogs that all won their groups. So to win over them is just emotional, because a lot of times I have my handler who handles him, and I've been doing more of it. So for me to get the best in show
That's even
is pretty special.
Apollo wasn't the only lucky winner, as top puppy is English setter Archer, with owner Nicole Marcel. At just 9 months old, Archer already has 7 Best in Show titles under his collar. Marcel says the pair loves competing.
Just my love for dogs. I've been doing it for about 17 years now.
Okay.
And I just enjoy being around dogs, so it's my hobby.
Organizer Yvonne Norton admits the weather might not have been ideal, but that wasn't going to stop them. Norton expresses her gratitude that the event continues to grow, with so many people coming from far and wide.
Thunder Bay is a great place to come and show your dogs. We are, as a dog community, we're very, very welcoming. We enjoy and we encourage people to come to our dog shows. So a lot of, especially for the Americans, this is more relaxed atmosphere than at the larger AKC, American Kennel Club shows. So they really do like to come up here and just like take a break. They take in our sights. They really, really enjoy coming up.
The North Shore Dog Show will run until Sunday from 8:30 to 5 each day. Well, Fiona, especially from that last video, you could tell it was sure wet out there today.
There's a little bit of light rain today and really not much moving in the way of temperatures. We had an overnight low of 12. We topped out with a very warm high of 15 Celsius. That's with winds from the east, 13 up to 42 kilometers per hour, which is why I'm pretty sure it was impossible to keep the lens dry with the wind and the rain at the same time. To the west, Fort Frances has been fluctuating between rain and cloud. They did warm up to 18. That's where they're at right now. But a little bit cooler as you head into Kenora and Dryden at 15 and 14 Celsius. Red Lake, 15. They've had rain most of the day, and I believe they had a low of 14 to go with their high of 15, so not much movement there. Similar conditions as you head further east into Armstrong at 13, Greenstone at 14. They had clouds all day. The rain just started in the last hour, but again, temperatures really did not move much more than a degree or two from the low to the high. Now, along the North Shore, we're in the mid-teens once again. Sault Ste. Marie actually topped out with a high of 20. So they were a hot spot in the region, and the rain started just in the last 2 hours. They're at 19 Celsius at this time. Here in the city of Thunder Bay tonight, we are going to see that drizzle and rain that we've had all day continue for the next few hours, then taper off overnight. We'll be left with a lot of cloud and a low of 14, but it could still be a bit windy at times with gusts up to 35 kilometers per hour from the north. As we head into Saturday, this is not the fastest moving system, and it's taken a sweet time just moving through. Now, this is not solid rain by any means. In fact, for the most part, Thunder Bay is looking to be mostly cloudy tomorrow, but this is showing the area that has the potential for brief showers as the system dwindles, and I'll have more details on how it will actually look in your forecast later on in the news hour.
Thank you so much, Fiona. Well, after the break, we'll have more details on the devastating wildfires in Hawaii as the death toll continues to rise.